is way ahead of his opponent, but he is far behind in the economy. So if Dichromatic can continue to trade cost efficiently against his opponent, he will eventually run him over. You see now that more reinforcements are rushing in for our Protoss player, and the Terran player does decide to go home. He hasn't seen the expansion yet, but he can probably guess, given that there's no rocks here, and the pylons are there as well. +3 melee, +3 ground weapons has started now for our Terran player. Lack of the rally of that Viking will end up hurting him in the long run if he does not move it down. He does drop out here, and he is now 20 food ahead of his opponent again. Oh, but that has Lemminks has closed the food difference in terms of workers, but we do see Dichromatic now taking another expansion. Both players are almost to max. He is loading up his units into those medevacs, and watch as those marauders follow the medevac towards the back of the Protoss player's base. Will he decide to drop? And he will drop into the Protoss player's main. This could do a lot of damage. We do see Sonic Storm research is started for our Protoss player, and he's going to see the Templar archives, and he's going to fly over the and drops down. Now these zealots are going to cleave and take apart every single Terran unit here, and the drop has been successfully resolved, but there's an attack once more on the base of the main base onto the gold of Dichromatic, and now the foods are even once more. A couple of good snipes on those zealots, and this planetary fortress will deny any sort of more attacks, but this drop is continuing inside. Lemminks is natural now, but with these reinforcements being warped in, that will be cleaned up very, very easily. Once again, moving in to engage against his opponent. He has to be careful though, because he doesn't want to lose. And one big storm going down, and Dichromatic has not even realized yet. Will that command center go down, and one big storm on the SCVs and the other one on the other SCVs, and this will in fact force a destruction upon this planetary. Oh no, but he does have more SCVs there, and he is going to take out the majority of that force. This drop in the main base of Lemminks has been cleaned up now as well. In the unit counting station, we do see he still has a 10 worker lead on his opponent. The fourth base, excuse me, of Lemminks has finished with +3 armor on the way. That could be the end of that, though. The Terran player is still way ahead in terms of food. That does translate into the units as well. Predominantly Marauder force given this, but he will be forced out of the Protoss player's base by this large amount of zealots and High Templar just waiting to pick apart those Marauders. You see him being forced out there, but with more units rallying in out of the absolutely amazing production facilities of the Terran player. Look at all those barracks. That is a lot. That is a lot of barracks. That's 8. 14 barracks out for Dichromatic, so he will be able to replenish his army at an extremely fast rate. These medevacs just sitting inside his opponent's base, seeing absolutely everything he wants to see. +3 armor has now finished for the Protoss player, and +3 weapons is on the way. Excellent kiting by Dichromatic, taking apart these zealots, and he will be forced back once more. There's still no medevacs in production, and these Vikings have just been hanging around inside his base doing not that much. And orbital command is going to be floated over. I wonder if that's... No, that is from the main of Dichromatic. We'll be floating an orbital command over to this location to continue mining off 4 bases, as he's completely mined out. In his main, he will be forced around, though. The strength of the Colossus is absolutely amazing, and he will pick up a couple of these Marines with a couple of big pot shots from those Colossi. But with these ghosts popping out now, the EMPs will be extremely effective against these Archons. Scans to see what is up. These Vikings are still kind of sitting there doing not really that much. EMPs blanketing the Protoss army. He is forced to retreat once more though by these zealots, and he is going to move forward and try to destroy the rest of that army. He is going to be focus firing these Colossus. If those Vikings had been there, that would have helped so much in that engagement, but the engagement does continue. He will one big storm on the army before an EMP does deplete the rest of those High Templar's energy, and they're forced to morph into an Archon. But there's really not that much going on. He's been trading cost efficiently against his opponent. Lemminks is going to move out and take out this base, it looks like, from this position. With all those Zealots and Stalkers, he will... No, but the mass repair by Dichromatic will mean that the Zealots will not be able to attack it, but they will clear up these SCVs, desperately trying to repair, and another blanket EMP on the rest of the Protoss players' army will dispel that Archon. And they're just going to be... The Vikings is going to sort of sit there and die. There's not much going on there, but we do see more reinforcements out now for our Terran players attacking into this army. Deciding not to stim in this in this position will finally kill that last excuse me, that last Zealot there. And yeah, there is a bit of a tension. He is once more way ahead of his opponent. The unit counting station, he has now closed the gap to only 4 workers different, but if he's not careful, this orbital command will burn to the ground. He will need to repair that as soon as possible, and he does in fact end up seeing that pylon that will be taken out by this pair of marauders. Between those zealots before more SCVs rolling in now, he has to repair that orbital command. Will he do so, or will it burn to the ground? But it doesn't matter because he's doing a big engagement now in the bottom of the map here. Doing a lot of damage. He does take out another Colossus, but this attack will once more be cleaned up by the rest of the gateway units there for the Protoss player. Once more though, the food counts are remarkably even, and it will not be burnt to the ground as the SCVs begin to repair it. It was pretty close though. These Marines do see a pylon there, so he can probably assume that there is an expansion. And these medevacs saying, yo, hey Mrs. Medevac, hello Mrs. Medevac, what's going on? Not much. No stalkers have shot us down yet, and our maker has forgotten about us. Finally seeing more medevacs out of Dichromatic, but we do see Lemminks has clawed his way back into this game, once more leveraging the food counts. Dichromatic has to be very careful. He doesn't want to throw away his advantage at this point. Those Vikings will be helpful against these Colossi. And these Nexuses are just seen here on the right hand side of the base of Lemminks. We'll begin to reinforce this region, stimming some Marines and attacking into Lemminks' base, and he's going to be taking out quite a few roads there with this attack. More reinforcements are now pouring in for Dichromatic once more. With that many barracks, he will be able to replenish at an extremely fast rate. Once more, 14 barracks is in producing units at a time, and half of them are reacted as well. Bit of a war party of Zealots will be moving out to try and take out this base once more by Dichromatic, but with a reinforcement army stimming up and moving in, it's not going to be much use. Again, excellent micro from Dichromatic. Takes out a couple of these Zealots, but 3-3 Zealots are just so tough, even against the 3-3 of his opponent. Getting to work on these Zealots, and that little attack will be cleaned up. That's all she wrote for that attack, and more units are now streaming in for Dichromatic, and he's going to be waiting there, but with Dark Templar out now for his opponent, this text which could prove deadly. Firing up, and he does stand, but he does miss, and he doesn't even take out a single Dark Templar with that scan. He is going to be moving in now with these units, and there we go. That missile turret is almost finishing, and these units and this planetary fortress will clear out the rest of those Dark Templar, but we do see at the bottom a bit of an engagement clearing out these Stalkers, and Lemminks is looking at it to be in a very tough spot. In the unit counting station, we do see he has taken a lead in workers now though, but I don't think it's going to matter. He is going to attack into this position with all these Zealots doing so much damage with those Zealots. 3-3 upgrades doing amazingly against the mainly bio composition of his opponent. These Vikings are going to clear up the rest of those Colossi, but it may not matter. No, but ultimately there is still too many units for Dichromatic, taking out the last of those zealots, and he can now push towards this base here for his opponent. He's going to be moving out with his massive army. It's going to be intercepted by a couple of these zealots, but they're going to be cleaned up by this massively upgraded army. A couple of big storms going down on that unit, and suddenly the battle is changed completely from the previous position. Excellent storms from our Protoss player. But with this many reinforcements streaming in, it looks like it's not really going to matter. It's going to be a matter of time before Dichromatic just decides to move in and slaughter his opponent. This is a very hard fought game from both players, with action all over the map. He's going to be moving out now to likely take on this base once more. Dichromatic is desperately moving across to now reinforce or not. He's just going to float and get that barracks away as these Archons desperately try to take it out. More SCVs moving out now. And look at this, he is going to be moving in there, takes out a couple more of those photon cannons and gets to work on this Nexus, taking it out, deciding to trade base for base, and these units will be getting to work on, will be sliced to bits by these zealots, and he will continue to attack into this position. Let's see what happens now. He's got another bit of an army here. We do see the multitasking from these players have not been absolutely what you'd call phenomenal, and he is moving in now. No production from either player, doing a lot of damage. Blanket EMPing his opponent, and another big storm from Lemminks, but doesn't really hit anything. He's moving in now to flank to attack his opponent, but no, decides to move or turn around and go back home. Again, we do see 10 zealots warping in at a time for the Protoss player, as the Terran player is now once more ahead in terms of SCVs after taking out that base of the Protoss player. But we do see for the first time in this game, Lemminks is now at a food lead, and given that he is behind on workers, that means his army is much stronger than the Terran player's army. We do see in the production tab still no real units reinforcing this army for our Terran player, but with no real mining bases, there's not much he can really do to continue the attack and aggression. He has been trading, but not entirely cost efficiently, and this zealot Archon Colossus Ball will probably end up demolishing the Terran player's main army. Waiting for the end here. Excuse me. Medic moving back now is camping in at this Lemminks watchtower. But now it's become only a matter of time until Lemminks can just attack. This game has shown the strength of 3 upgraded zealots. They just do not die. And shoot something that's right. Okay, anyway, either way, he will be taking out this little isolated chunk of the Terran player base. Terran player's army will be moving around the side here now. And with all these SCVs, this is going to be terrible for him. He's just going to move back out, and this is the final death throes of Dichromatic. There's just not much more he can do. This planetary fortress taken out by Lemminks, and with these Archons, beautiful EMPs from Dichromatic, but with this massive storm now, expect to see GG fairly soon. It does look like the end of Dichromatic just called GG and leaves the game. If you want to vote for this game to be the recipient of the most intense game award, please thumb it up in the playlist. And I've been Steamed Rice. Check out our sponsor, cyberthor. Go check them out, www.cyberthor.com.au, and please subscribe to this channel. It really helps us a lot. Thanks guys. See you guys next time.